disruptive.
America that I fought.
Weird thing to happen. So people may remember when Donald Trump was interviewed recently with Fox and Friends on this upcoming election and the debate that's happening about whether he was going to declassify the documents that he said he was going to declassify. Obviously talking about JFK, 9/11, the Afghanistan papers, Jeffrey Epstein's clientele list. You know, the big controversial notations that the public would like to know about. And Donald Trump has made many promises about releasing them. And he said right to Fox and Friends that he was going to release them if he gets reelected in 2024. Listen to this.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you,
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
Attorney General.
So he says he's going to do it. I don't know if he's actually going to do it because he said the last time he was going to do it, and we didn't get much of it. We got little fragments here and there, kind of like little runoff sentences of what could happen, what potentially is in the documents, but we never actually got the documents. And that was one of the reasons why they're trying to prosecute Donald Trump for the declassified document scandal. You know, as president, you have legally the ability to declassify or classify any document you want. That is the whole position of being the leader of a country. You have the power and ability to declassify documents. That is in your job description. And they're trying to prosecute Trump for the fact that he used that power. Whereas Joe Biden, as vice president, didn't have the ability to do so, but he was able to declassify his own documents. He was able to classify his own issuing. And they try to make a scandal about it. So they're worried that Donald Trump may reveal a lot of this stuff. And that's one of the things that the establishment hates Donald Trump so much about, is the fact that he's a wild card. He's uncontrollable. He may release these documents. We don't know. But there is someone that may know if or when, or maybe not, these documents may get released. And that is this guy, Judge Andrew Napolitano, who has his own podcast show. He's really interesting and smart about the legal processes. And he has had conversations with Donald Trump about this. And he's talking to Jeffrey Sachs about these documents that he said on Fox and Friends. Yeah, I'm going to declassify JFK and 9/11 and the Epstein files. But here's why Donald Trump may be hesitant on that. Why the first round, when he was president, he refused to do so? Because we always had speculations on why. Listen to this.
In my last conversation with President Trump in the White House, he called me a lot. And this is after January 6th, so it's 2 weeks before, or a week before he's leaving office. He wanted to run past me the names of people he was going to pardon and sentences he was going to commute. He wanted my opinion on them. Some of them I knew. I said, "How you doing?" He said, "Not too well." And he went off into a tangent about what he thought happened with the election. I said, "You know, you made a promise to the public many times and to me privately that you haven't kept." What? I'll take care of it right now. I said, "You promised you would release the records of the JFK assassination." He said to me, "Judge, if they showed you what they showed me, you wouldn't have released it either." And I said, "Who's they and what did they show you?" And then he said, "Judge, someday when we're on the phone," and then he raised his voice, "and there aren't 15 people listening to the phone call," back to a normal voice, "I'll tell you."
Oh my God.
I mean, this makes it sound even worse.
So what it sounds like is those jokes that we make about how the deep state controls politicians by leading them to a back room, showing them secretive tapes, maybe in a different angle of the assassination of JFK, may have actually been truthful. That may have actually happened. By the sounds of it. This is how they control politicians. We're just going to lead you into this back room. We're going to show you some archive footage. Take your time. Watch it at different angles. And then we're going to ask you any questions. It sounds like exactly we've been joking about. And the reason why it's funny, because now it's true. It sounds like it's true. Because Donald Trump sounds like he's worried that if he does release these documents, he might get JFK'd. There might be something that plot again. Like, look at what they've been doing to him already. Look at what they're doing to him now, just running a campaign. Imagine if he actually did the stuff they promised. Imagine if he actually did release the documents pertaining to Epstein or the 9/11 Commission or JFK. If he did anything that he promised to the American public, how reactive the deep state would be on him. And this is what Chuck Schumer said on MSNBC towards the president. That he said that Donald Trump would be stupid to cross the intelligence services. Donald Trump would be stupid to cross the intelligence agencies because they have 9 ways Sunday to take anybody down. He's saying that to the president. This is truly who is running the country. This is truly who's running the country. And I try to explain this to people numerous times, and you give them the simplest explanation, but they can't fathom the idea that there's people behind the president. There's people behind the prime minister. This is why I've been saying that, people like Joe Biden or Justin Trudeau, it doesn't matter who's in the position of power, because really the prime minister, the president, is like a mascot. They may be the face of the country. They may go to all the events and represent the country in all this way. But the people behind it are really control the country. So it doesn't matter who becomes president, who becomes prime minister. It doesn't matter whether it's blue or red. It does not matter. Because the deep state has deep, dark connections in occupying control of all of it. They are the masterminds that are dictating what the president's going to do. They're the ones dictating how the economy is going to run. They're the ones dictating what wars we're going to, where we're going for with foreign affairs. They're the masterminds that are doing the most heinous evil. And the fact that every 4 years we get to roll the dice one more time to see if there's going to be a change, and there's not going to be a change, just shows how democracy is, the democracy we're in right now is completely insane. And it's because we don't live in a democracy. We live in an oligarchy. There's not even representation. You even look at people like AOC. AOC was supposedly a bartender from the Bronx. That's up to question. Who got into politics. And remember when AOC first got into office, how she told people, she did live tweets about her orientation day and told people how oppressing the White House was when she got into office. How they scolded her. This is how it's going to be. This is how you're going to operate. And if you don't do so, you'll be kicked out. That is what the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, all these intelligence agencies and big corporations are dictating Trump to do. That is why he's hesitant on releasing these documents. That is why they're trying to get him off the election cycle. That is why they did a whole entire judicial scandal to try to prosecute Trump for documents, for classifying, declassifying documents that they know the president has the legal ability to do so. It's in their job description. But this is why. Because they don't want that information to be released. Exactly what he said. Because once you see it, once you see how grotesque it is, you'll know how damaging the deep state is to the general public. And people will revolt against it, which they should be doing already. But this is how they keep people in control. They want you to think that everything's okay. There's no such thing as a deep state. The CIA is your friend. The FBI is actually there to solve crimes. They don't want to tell you the absolute truth about these horrific agencies that are used to oppress you. And that's why Trump is hesitant on releasing these documents. So when he goes on Fox and Friends and says, yeah, sure. It may sound good that Donald Trump, someone like him, could release those documents. You may get riled up with it, but don't get fooled. Because Donald Trump knows the right words. When he got into office the first time around, he didn't side with the establishment. He got caught up in it. And that's what they're going to do to anybody. And that is the whole point of all this. It doesn't matter who we get into office. It doesn't matter what political party they are. Once you get into that position, they are going to cultivize you. They are going to they're going to callous on you. They are going to groom you up to make sure you are a puppet of theirs. No matter who you are. And that's how they're able to do so. They're able to scare you. They're able to fearmonger you, blackmail you, or they take away your finances. They take away your abilities. They take away your powers. They go and hire some other puppeteer to campaign against you. This is the ultimate masterminds that are used to manipulate and oppress everyday life. And I say it again, this is why January 6th did not ruin democracy or anything like that. You never had a democracy. Democracy is an illusion. You live in an oligarchy. You live in a deep state, totalitarian state that is used to oppress you. You just look like it's a democracy because every 4 years you get a chance to roll the dice. But it's going to be the exact same outcome. Whether it be Trump, whether it be Biden, even if it's Jill Stein. They are going to take anyone, and cultivate them into a puppet for their status quo. Anyway, we should hear the rest of this.
Who are they? Probably somebody in the intelligence community. What did they show him? JFK's brains blown out?
This is it. You know, it was said by one person that after the Kennedy assassination, there has been no president. They have only been factotums of the system since then.
Yeah.
It may well be the most decisive event in modern American history.
And JFK was the last president to ever even mention the CIA. He is, between him and probably Trump now, he's the only people in a position of power that ever bothers to mention the CIA and hold them accountable. And this is what happens. So, my guess is, don't hold your breath. Don't put your eggs into one basket. I would like to think the idea that somewhere out there, you know, even if it is Donald Trump, and I'm no fan of the Trumpster myself, I've been saying it for years. But this is, again, this is how they control the entire system. This is how they control the entire political, cultural, everything. This is how they do it. And because Trump is a bit of the wild card that is somewhat on our side, somewhat against, somewhat for the establishment, somewhat against, he's unpredictable. That's what makes him a great TV star. This is why they're going after him. This is why they're prosecuting him. This is why they're falsifying all these made-up charges to silence him out and discredit him from becoming president again. And this is why 2024, not to put this around, but be very cautious about the election outcome. Be very cautious of where this election is going towards, because it might happen again, if you know what I mean. Because they're not going to let this easily. They're not going to let this happen. And this is how they're able to manipulate, control whoever's in power to do the bidding of the deep state establishment, the evil cretences that have destroyed humanity within. That's how they're able to do it. And if they can do it to Trump, they can do it to anybody. Which is why, sadly, the election doesn't even matter at this point. Like, I don't even know why they're even having a debate. I don't even know why that all matters. Because you have one party that dictates over everything. That's the uniparty deep state. And unfortunately, you can't vote them out. There's no way to put, anti deep state on the ballot. There's only a revolution, which is something that Bernie used to say, but now it's up to us. We need to unite us all, or die divided.